The date is August 28th, 1963. The place, Washington, D.C. The voice and the vision, as we show you every year, unforgettable.
This will be the day when all of God's children be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
There is no more incredible man on this earth.
created a man who became a monster.
Thanks to Franco Fidesz and Judah Woodley, whose bios and contact information are in the journals at your table. Tonight, their special talents are helping us mark the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, which has serious and enduring roots on Long Island. In fact, turn your attention to the screens for a trailer of a new feature film about hip-hop's origins on Long Island, shot on Long Island, directed and produced on Long Island.
The year is 1979. There's no cable TV, there's no internet, no cell phones, no rap industry. Just breakdance competition at the Roosevelt Roller Rink. This is the story of the Play Hard crew and their run-ins with the future Roosevelt superstars.
They say this is where stars are born, made in a galaxy far, far away. I know where they are really born. In Roosevelt.
You know, this hip-hop music is getting ready to be big. It's already big. You know what I mean? You got my man coming from the Bronx, Curtis Blow, up in the Bronx, where the people are fresh. You got this DJ named Chuck Chill Out from the Bronx. You know what I mean? You got the Fresh 3 MCs. You know, you got DJ Breakout coming from the Bronx. This is hip-hop. Get with the culture, money.
All right, so I grew up in Roosevelt, okay? And I know I give it a bad rap sometimes, but you know, it taught me a lot, all right? If I wasn't there, I wouldn't have as big a set of balls as I have right now, okay? You know, that's where I am right now. So, and all the greats came from Roosevelt. I mean, I can't deny that. There's a lot of greats there, okay? I mean, Julius Erving came out the same time I came. He changed the NBA, he changed the ABA. So, I mean, I can't argue with that, okay? So, you know, would I go back? No. You know, does a soldier go back to the war? Not really. So, I mean, I got my ass handed to me a few times. It happens, you know. I was the only white person there for a while, you know. So I got picked on, I got shit on, and you know it's gonna happen. But I can't argue that Roosevelt is a place where many greats were born and raised and got out of. Okay.
Yo, Bird, you coming?
I got somewhere to be after school.
Yo, Pop,
What's
yo,
going
what's
on?
good?
What's
What's
up?
going?
I don't know.
Oh, it is like, what?
Are you serious?
I'm not trying to be here for 2 hours after school. I've been here all day.
Come on, let's play hard for
Yo, you ain't got nothing else to do. Oh, nah, yo.
Yo, come back here. All right, so listen, guys. Now that she's gone, I gotta. Okay.
Let's go.
Here we are.
Coming soon to theaters.
It's called The Last B-Boy, and it was filmed in Roosevelt, features Franco and Judah, who danced for you, and was produced and directed by Andre Gilty, a.k.a. Andreas 13. Andreas, where are you? There you are. So, there you are. So, as part of our special educational, cultural, and of course, geographical bond with the Hempstead schools, Hofstra has been privileged to work with many of their students and teachers. There's a medical school scholars pipeline program for high schoolers, the healthy lifestyles initiatives for elementary school kids, and countless tutoring, counseling, recreational, and job training programs. And tonight, the Diversity Dinner again has the honor of showcasing the talents of the Hempstead High School Select Chorale, directed by none other than Rachel Blackburn. Knock 'em dead, he'd be great. Thank you.
There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything, yeah, was in her eyes, in her eyes. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. No mirrors in her. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. I never knew that my skin was too black, and I never knew that my nose was too flat, and I never knew that my clothes didn't fit, and I never knew there were things that I missed, 'cause the beauty in everything, yeah, was in her eyes, in her eyes. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. No mirrors in her. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. I was intrigued by the cracks in the walls, the dust in the sun looked like snow that would fall. The noise in the hallway was music to me. The trash and the rubbish just cushioned my feet, and the beauty in everything, yeah, was in her eyes, in her eyes. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. And the world outside was a magical place. I only knew love and I didn't know hate, and the beauty in everything, yeah, was in her eyes, in her eyes. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything, yeah, was in her eyes, in her eyes. Child, look deep into my eyes, 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 child, look deep into my eyes.
Thank you so much. That piece was No Mirrors in My Nana's House by Sweet Honey in the Rock. Izai Maria Barnwell telling the story of growing up as a young black child, and there were no mirrors in her Nana's house. In other words, she was saying she never knew anything about what the world would say negative about her. The beauty of everything was in her Nana's eyes. This next song is a tribute to the great late Harry Belafonte. It's called Turn the World Around. Thank you.
after this number, somebody...
From the fire, living in the fire, go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the fire, living in the fire, go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the fire, living in the fire, go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water, go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water, go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water, go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain, go back to the mountain, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain, go back to the mountain, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain, go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Water make the river, river wash the mountain. Fire make the sunlight, turn the world around. Heart is of the river, body is the mountain, spirit is the sunlight, turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do I know who we are? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Abatiwa, so is life. Oh, so is life. Abatiwa, so is life. Oh, so is life. Abatiwa, so is life. Oh, so is life. Abatiwa, so is life.
Let's hear it again for the Hempstead High School Select Chorale. Thank you, Rachel Blackburn and the Hempstead Chorale. And now it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce the president of Hofstra University, the first female president in Hofstra's history, Dr. Susan Poser.
Well, good evening. Whoa, let's see if I get these on. And welcome to the 2023 celebration of suburban diversity. I want to thank Larry Levy, Executive Director of Hofstra's National Center for Suburban Studies, and Christopher Neat, Academic Director of the Center, and their team, Debbie Tinarello and Ina Katz, for everything that they do. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to extend my congratulations to tonight's honorees for their continued work in creating a thriving and inclusive community. These honorees this evening are Thomas Falcone of Long Island Power Authority, Joy Brown of Newsday, entrepreneur and philanthropist Lily Hahn, Nilesh Soni of Dynamic Physical Therapy Services, and Hofstra's very own Mario Murillo, Vice Dean and Professor of Radio, Television, and Film at Hofstra's Lawrence Herbert School of Communication. Now, Hofstra University is fully committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the Center for Suburban Studies is one of our shining examples of that commitment. The center has been supporting communities on Long Island for decades with initiatives that have equity and empowerment at their core. I will mention just two recent examples of these core values that are illustrative, but by no means exclusive. One is that Suburban Studies is a partner with Cornell University Extension to ensure that underrepresented communities fully participate in the green revolution through the creation of a green energy hub on Long Island. The other example is a partnership that Suburban Studies has developed with J.P. Morgan Chase to create economic opportunity for underrepresented entrepreneurs by training them to join the supply chains of bigger companies. The center has received $800,000 from J.P. Morgan for this project. My team at Hofstra is laser-focused on equity as well. The most recent example of this commitment was the promotion earlier this month of Mr. Cornell Craig from being Hofstra's Chief Diversity Officer to becoming Hofstra's inaugural Vice President for Equity and Inclusion. I think you're going to hear a little bit from him later. Cornell is doing incredible work focusing on policies and practices that impact the campus community while building community and a culture of equity across the whole university. Now, while I'm on the subject of policies and practices around equity, I would like to say a few words about the U.S. Supreme Court decision last June that found affirmative action in college admissions to be unconstitutional. That decision held that going forward, it is unconstitutional and illegal to use race as a factor at all in admitting students to college. For the record, this will have no effect on undergraduate admissions practice at Hofstra University, which did not use race as a factor in deciding whom to admit. And our first-year class this year was 56% students of color. The broader significance of the court's opinion, however, affects everyone, because it is the assumptions that were contained in the decision and its overall message which reflect an almost wholly ahistorical view of this country and a refusal to come to terms with or be honest about the current state of equality of opportunity in our society. At Hofstra, we understand how the world works, and we have continued with virtually all of the programs that were already in place before this decision. And these include, again, just as examples, recruiting talented students from underserved communities, supporting clubs, activities, and affinity groups of all kinds on campus, so long as these are available to all students, acknowledging publicly that race can impact experience, disparities, and opportunity in our society, pushing back against racism, bias, and discrimination of all kinds, and making a big effort to increase the diversity of the Hofstra faculty, students, staff, and administrators. This work is aligned with Hofstra University's commitment to supporting a community where all can thrive. The university values difference and has built a culture of respect where diverse racial, cultural, religious, physical, and gender identities are considered the building blocks of community rather than something that interferes with community. We are proud of and fully committed to this work. So again, congratulations to tonight's honorees and to the National Center for Suburban Studies for another great year. Thank you.
I thought I'd let that soak in a little bit and walk slow. Thank you, President Poser. 15 years. This is the 15th anniversary of the celebration of suburban diversity. I mean, think about that. It's hard to believe it's been that long since Charles Wang told us of emigrating here penniless from China before leading the transformation of the region's economy. Considering that the first dinner program was 3 hours long, I'm surprised anybody came to the second one. And I promise it won't be that long tonight. But you did come back, and you still do. And over the years, this event has brought together thousands of people, nearly 500 tonight, and generated millions of dollars, much for pro bono partnerships in underserved neighborhoods. I like to call it suburban studies from A to Z, arts to zoology, from potential study on the potential of a cultural center in Wyandanche's new downtown to the analysis of nitrogen levels in the western Hempstead Bays, A to Z. And all at the intersection of diversity, sustainability, and suburban life, like tonight's grand intersection. Now, many of you have heard me say, some of you probably ad nauseum, that these are not my mother and father's suburbs. That diversity is the key to our economic and social success, and that embracing it isn't just nice, it's smart. Through our work, we know that newcomers are enriching our culture and energizing our economy. That you in this room, are the new entrepreneurs and investors, the new doctors and educators, productive workers up and down the spectrum of our workforce. But sadly, we also know, and some of you, if you've been here before, have heard me say this, and it's sad that I can keep on saying this, we are still among the most segregated places in America. We know that Black and Latino kids are packed into the poorest schools. We know their elders are denied teaching jobs, as we found working with the Latino and Black Educators Association, who are here today, great community research partners. And now we also know that diverse communities themselves are at odds over everything from local political and economic turf to deadly international conflict. Still worse, we've seen discrimination kill. And the pandemic was hardly the only instance. But please don't be depressed, really. I don't mean to depress you. In fact, you should feel just the opposite. I've been around long enough to know there has been progress, that far from tokens, we are seeing diverse suburbanites penetrating every profession and acquiring real political and economic power. So even though there's still much for all of us to do, I remain hopeful and motivated, as I hope this event makes you feel. And now for some well-deserved thank yous, which is really my role tonight. First, to our honorees, who you'll hear from soon. Dr. Poser mentioned them, Tom Falcone and Joy Brown and Lily Hahn and Nilesh Soni and Mario Murillo. They honor us by letting us honor them. And ditto for the winners of our high school essay contest, sponsored for 14 years by Bethpage Federal Credit Union. Deep thanks to dinner co-chairs and prior keynote honorees, Scott Reckler, the CEO of RXR, and Bob Cattell, my mentor, former CEO of National Grid USA, two men who truly walk the talk of inclusion, and they've been doing this long before ESG meant anything to anybody. And they are the biggest supporters of this year's dinner, as well as many other NCSS initiatives over many years. Scott's not here tonight, but Bob, thank you so much, so much. As for other major dinner donors, kudos to Newsday's Pat Dolan, who was here earlier, to JP Morgan Chase, whose contributions have enabled us to do things we have never been able to do before, Northwell Health, the Long Island Contractors Association, WAC Lighting, National Grid, the Long Island Power Authority, of course, Central Nassau Rotary, the salt of the earth among our business class in Nassau County, and the law firms of Abrams Fensterman, Nixon Peabody, and Farrell Fritz. Many other people have contributed. These are just among the largest. And thanks especially to the indispensable, and she hates this every year, Ina Katz, who has organized all 15 dinners to the tiniest detail. In fact, I like to call her my assistant dean for detail because that's what she is absolutely amazing at. And just one more shout out. Dr. Milt Mazer, who created the lovely image gracing the stage and all our promotional materials. Are you here, Milt? I think you're here. Where? Right there. Please wave. Dr. Mazer had a long career, I think, as an internist, and when he retired, he decided to become an artist and has actually acquired some renown in that field. So congratulations. There's something after retirement for all of us, baby. Or not. In closing, please indulge me a minute more. An optimistic one, I promise, to tell you about our latest projects and the grants we're sharing with local organizations. You know, for all our initiatives with name-droppy places like Harvard and Brookings and the Schomburg Center for Black Culture and History in Harlem, where we had a major exhibit called Black Suburbia from Levittown to Ferguson. Nothing means more to NCSS than our work right here on Long Island with all of you. 2021 and 22 were extremely busy, from boosting COVID vaccines in Nassau's poorest hamlet to aiding minority businesses, as Dr. Poser talked about, through Ascend Long Island. Also funded, in addition by JP Morgan, we get help from Northwell, we've gotten it from PSE&G, National Grid, and hopefully soon from LIPA as well. This year, our diversity-related work not only continued, it accelerated. With various multi-year grants, we're helping federal, state, town agencies protect diverse suburbs from storms, pollution, and environmental inequities. We're sharing private gifts with our medical school to teach Hempstead and Roosevelt kids healthier lifestyles, and with Northwell residents and the Coalition for the Homeless to bring psychiatric care to street people. Thanks to state-funded initiatives, we're helping Harmony Health, Dave Nemiroff, you're here today, Harmony Health improve maternal care, and we're partnering with Cornell Cooperative, as Dr. Poser said, to make sure that everybody benefits from clean energy investments. Oh, and finally, there's our pro bono projects with the new, Farah Mazwala, are you still here tonight? With the new Asian American Institute for Research and Engagement. We've got some great projects going with them. In short, diversity is at the heart of what we do, and tonight, it's what we celebrate. Now, please welcome Hofstra Provost Charlie Reardon, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Charlie has the great misfortune of having me report to him every day.
Thanks very much, Larry. I want to congratulate all of the honorees as well. They've been named several times, and you get to see them on the platform, so let me try to get away as quickly as possible. I definitely want to thank President Susan Poser for promoting a culture that really encourages events like this evening's celebration of suburban diversity. Susan's commitment to serving communities is evidenced in her words, for example, tonight, her deeds, and in her expectations of all of us who have the privilege and pleasure of working with her. And I want to thank Larry and his team, Chris, Deborah, and Ina, for flawlessly preparing and executing this evening's event, bringing together so many people from so many backgrounds. Thank you, Larry. As a newbie to Long Island, I've moved here in the summer of 2022. I'm often asked what attracted me to Hofstra and the region. Two things: President Poser's vision for what Hofstra will become, and the diversity of our campus and of Long Island. One of my jobs as provost to chief academic officer is to encourage faculty and students to engage in outstanding scholarly research and effective community engagement. And when practiced together, that yields powerful results. Community-based and community-serving initiatives mean forging partnerships with some of the region's largest institutions and with smaller neighborhood groups that serve our most vulnerable. On Long Island, that often means our communities of color. As an agency critical to every home and business in the region, the Long Island Power Authority recognizes a special responsibility to walk the talk, as Larry said, on equity and inclusion. That's why I am pleased and privileged to introduce LIPA CEO Thomas Falcone as this year's honoree and keynote speaker. Your program details Tom's long list of credentials and accomplishments about him and LIPA, and so I refer you to the program for the details. Put succinctly, Tom is one of Long Island's most impactful leaders. Only a year after joining LIPA in 2014, he was appointed CEO of what is now the nation's third largest publicly owned utility. Since then, Tom has led LIPA to financial stability and sustainability, including addressing one of society's pernicious challenges, climate change, by ushering in a green energy revolution. In facilitating this complex and critical transition, Tom has focused LIPA on assuring that all Long Islanders benefit from the billions in new investments in jobs, contracts, and technology. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming LIPA CEO and 2023 honoree, Tom Falcone.
Good evening, everybody. It's my privilege to be here. I want to thank President Poser and Provost Reardon, and thank Larry for both what he does for the National Center for Suburban Studies, but also for this great event that I've been privileged to come to a number of years, which showcases Long Island's culture and helps raise funds for important causes. It's my honor to be here with a distinguished group of fellow honorees. And I'm also joined here by members of the LIPA Board of Trustees who are seated here. I think technically we have a quorum, so I think this is technically a LIPA Board of Trustees meeting. I'm also joined by a number of members of our staff and by my wife and 3 children. And so I appreciate them coming out. So in the words of Franklin Roosevelt, I aim to be sincere, be brief, and be seated. But I want to talk to you about 2 things. And the first is in keeping with the cultural aspects of this evening's dinner. I want to talk to you about a song. And the song I want to talk to you about is from the 1960s, and it's about the suburbs. And you may have heard it. It's called Little Boxes by Malvina Reynolds. It's a very catchy little tune. The song is a satire of the suburbs. It depicts the suburbs as boring and monotonous, and the houses and the people and the children are just little boxes that are all the same. And Larry mandated that if I was going to talk about the song, I had to sing it. So here you go. Little boxes, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. So no calls for encore? No? There we go. I don't want to keep you too long, so I'll save the performance for later. The song is folksy, it's catchy. What it isn't is it doesn't really reflect the reality of the suburbs today or for a long, long time in the past. I grew up in suburban Philadelphia. I was not a Long Islander, but I grew up in a working class neighborhood, and it was made up of mostly row homes, literally little boxes, but not figuratively. Our neighbors were plumbers and teachers and postmen. My father was a carpenter, but he, along with my mother, crafted a beautiful home filled with love and civic pride and a tireless work ethic. And they volunteered for everything from the PTA to charities to neighbors in need. But contrary to the stereotype that still somehow persists about the suburbs, my suburb was a melting pot. Today, like many diversifying suburbs, that community I grew up in is now a majority-minority community. But even at the time I was there, even back then, it was 40% Black, Korean, Chinese, Greek, and Vietnamese. And my wife also is not from Long Island. She grew up in China. We chose to live here rather than being born here. And one of the reasons is that, like our family, this is a melting pot. Long Island is a melting pot, a marvelous melting pot. As I mentioned, and as you see, my wife and I, we met in college shortly after she immigrated from China. Our beginning was very romantic indeed. We were randomly assigned as partners in a finance class. Yes. And I immediately saw a beautiful, intelligent, hardworking young lady, and I asked her for a date, and she wasn't interested at first, or for the next 5 years. So, and I think that in that it teaches one of life's lessons of persistence and patience. But what I've also most assuredly learned about my wife, who grew up abroad and speaks 3 languages, and grew up in a city of 18 million people, is that she would not be drawn to the bland life of little boxes described in Miss Reynolds' song, and that's not what we found on Long Island. Within 10 minutes of our home, we have a Chinese and a Vietnamese grocery store. We have multiple Chinese language schools where our children learn the language of their mother. My wife plays in a local badminton league with people from India and East Asia and Eastern Europe, where that sport is especially popular. And my mother-in-law, when she visits, there's a church, there's a social group that she can belong to, and she feels very welcome and at home. Our county and our town sponsor festivals and events to celebrate all manner of ethnic holidays, including those important to the Chinese community. So come on out and you can listen to the Lion Dance for Chinese New Year. You don't have to just wait till next year. So Long Island's diversity is not just a demographic fact, it's a cultural asset, and a cultural asset that strengthens us as an economic hub. My wife and I, part of the reason we live here is because Long Island is such a rich home to a variety of languages and people, cuisines, arts, traditions, all of which enrich our lives as they have tonight. And so it is fitting that we come together tonight to support the National Center for Suburban Studies, because there is a lot going on in the suburbs, and those are worthy of study and worthy of support, and not just on Long Island, but across this country. And with this dinner, we're also celebrating suburban diversity right here. And with that, I would like to turn to one final topic, because if you invite a utility guy to speak, he is going to spend at least a minute speaking about utilities. Now, I know that not everybody finds this topic exciting, but I guarantee you it is related. Long known as something like Miss Reynolds' bland little boxes, utilities are undergoing a transformation driven by policy and technology. And that transformation is one that affects all Long Islanders, everyone in this room. And the importance of that transformation is that all Long Islanders must benefit from it, including people of color who cannot be left behind. To put this transformation into perspective, here on Long Island, LIPA obtains currently 80% of our energy from natural gas-fired power plants. That's where your electricity comes from, 80%. Yet in a little over 1 month from today, the first utility-scale offshore wind farm in the United States will begin operation, the result of an initiative that began 7 years ago. And within another 7 years, LIPA estimates we'll be supplying over half of Long Island's electricity from offshore wind, on our way to an entirely carbon-free electric grid. At the same time, the auto industry is transitioning from the internal combustion engine to cars powered in whole or in part by electricity. They're fast, they're fun, they're efficient. Just ask my wife, she stole my EV right after we bought it. She said, this is so good, all her stuff went into my car and all my stuff went into her car. So they're very good. And with price declines, new federal tax credits, they're also becoming very affordable, very competitive. Your next car will likely have a battery, and that means the fuel of the future for you is electricity, clean electricity, that offshore wind. And there's also a tremendous opportunity here on Long Island to help homes and businesses that heat with oil, which is about 40% of the total, to cut their heat bills in half and their carbon emissions by even more by using cold climate heat pumps powered by electricity. So I'm not here to sell you electricity, but I am here to talk to you about it. We stand at this moment when the electric grid, which is already an essential part of our lives, is poised to become even more important, powered by clean energy, not just charging our phones, but also our cars and heating our homes. And LIPA's obligation is to make sure that in this transformation of the electric grid and the billions of dollars of investment that come with it, that it's equitable and that it benefits all the diverse communities of Long Island and the Rockaways. And our commitment, which we take very seriously, is consistent with our partners in state government, led by Governor Hochul, and we're making progress. And I will briefly mention a few items. I guarantee you I'm almost done. LIPA is partnering with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and Nassau and Suffolk Community Colleges to sponsor pre-apprentice programs for electrical workers that will be needed for the grid of the future, particularly targeting underrepresented communities. We're partnering with Larry's team at Hofstra and other major organizations to create the clean energy hub that's been mentioned a couple of times tonight, and assure equitable and inclusive distribution of the benefits of the clean energy transition, particularly to minority businesses, neighborhoods, and homeowners. Regarding electric vehicles, LIPA is providing financial assistance to EV charging infrastructure installed in disadvantaged communities to make sure everyone has access to the new technology. And together with the state, we're sponsoring a clean transportation pilot to help solve transportation challenges in 2 underserved communities, Brentwood and Rockaways, right here on Long Island. And as for clean heating, we want to make sure that it's not just those who can afford the upfront installation cost that can save money and reap the environmental benefits. So LIPA's programs pay double the rebates for heat pumps installed in the homes of our low-income customers. And together with those new federal tax credits, nearly all of the cost of these new technologies are covered for those homeowners. So finally, as a local economic engine, LIPA has long had programs in place to make available opportunities for minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses in our own procurements and that of our contractor, PSEG, where we are proud that the state has consistently ranked us as A+, and I want to commend the work particularly of Hofstra, the Ascend Long Island program, which is excellent and which we're a supporter of. But like all endeavors, and here's my ask of you, pay attention, like all endeavors, we're not perfect, and I'd encourage everybody in this room to reach out with your ideas and your opportunities to work together to make sure that our benefits of this clean energy revolution, the economic and environmental benefits, are shared and as widely dispersed as possible. In closing, I would like to thank the National Center for Suburban Studies and all of you for listening. Thank you very much.
It's fine.
Thank you, Tom, for your inspiration and leadership. And now, directed by Ki Dai, it's my privilege to introduce the New York Chinese Chorus. Now, as they get ready on stage, I want to let you know they'll be singing two songs. The first, Chrysanthemum Terrace, is the sentimental ending theme of the movie Curse of the Golden Flower. Hopefully you'll feel the powerful range of emotions the movie and the song conveys.
I have to say something. I'm terribly sorry we're singing Chinese song. It's all Larry's fault. He doesn't allow me to do the PowerPoint. I wish you see all the words in English. But no, the melody is still melody. Enjoy.
The second song, Mo Li Hua, dates back to the 18th century. One of the many regional variations. The beautiful melody expresses the love and yearning of Chinese workers for a better life. Mo Li Hua. Thank you to the New York Chinese Chorus.
Give me 1 second. We need to take a group photo. We have to put it in our file. So whoever is taking, help. 来，林老师请进来。老师，sorry。叫老师过来，叫老师过来。在上面，上来，上。
If Ty wants to take a group photo, Ty will take a group photo. There is no question. Tai Wong was one of the, and WAC Lighting was one of the very first supporters of the very first diversity dinner. And she's been a great supporter all along. Tai and Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was terrific. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you always. Thank you. Thank you. You're up next in a little while. Let's have another hand for the New York Chinese Choir chorus. And now for a really special part of the evening, please welcome Rob Suarez of Bethpage Federal Credit Union, Dr. Christopher Neat, the Academic Director of the National Center for Suburban Studies, and of course, the winners of this year's Hofstra Bethpage High School Student Diversity Essay Contest. Where are you? Come on up. Come on down, as they would say. And as they make their way to the stage, I'd like to thank NCSS's Assistant Dean Debbie Tinarello for all the work she did in organizing the essay contest, which had just 100 moving parts. Literally, we had 100 entries. And all the work she did with other facets of the evening. So thank you, Debbie, wherever you are. I know you're here somewhere. Anyways, Rob, where's Rob? Rob, why don't you take the microphone?
Well, good evening, everyone. As Larry mentioned, my name is Rob Suarez. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Bethpage Federal Credit Union. It is truly an honor to be working with Larry and his team for the tremendous work that they do for suburban communities and diversity throughout Long Island. 14 years, wow, blink of an eye. As Larry mentioned, this is a time where, it's a crucial time in what we're all facing, but at the same time, it's a celebration because we do see progress. It is an honor to be here and enriching the lives of all our members of our communities. It is truly tremendous work that Larry and his team do. So please join me in giving Larry and his team a round of applause. With no further ado, it is an honor to be here to present the scholarship recipients of this evening. With no further ado, I know I'm holding you from desserts, but hopefully you all enjoy the evening. And Larry, to many, many, many more years, and to the many familiar friends out here in the audience who has had the opportunity to reunite, being after COVID and all. So it's great to see everyone, all my friends. And more importantly, congratulations to all the honorees.
Thank you very much, Rob. I am Chris Neat, Academic Director of the National Center for Suburban Studies, and for many years it's been my honor and privilege to introduce the winners of this contest. Since its inception, more than 1,000 high school students and dozens of schools have participated in this contest, winning more than $100,000 in prizes. And what's most exciting about the contest is the quality of the research and writing, in some cases coming from students that are just high school freshmen. And the first time we gave this award, the winner was actually a high school freshman competing against sophomores, juniors, and seniors. The 2023 judges were all Hofstra students, and they said that the quality of this year's 100 submissions was exceptionally high, which made their job very difficult. And I just want to take a minute to thank the judges, two of whom are here tonight, Ellie Bell and Gabe James. I don't know where they are. Can we give them a round of applause? And also another quick round of applause for all of the teachers and parents who work diversity both into their curriculum and also into their fabric of their everyday lives. Let's give them a round of applause too. Now for the first place winner, Eliana Park, an 11th grader at New Hyde Park Memorial, who will receive $3,000. If Eliana or any other of the winners chooses to attend Hofstra, we will at least double the award. Eliana. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Now where do we pose?
Congratulations. Great job.
Eliana's full essay is reprinted in your journal. Second prize of $2,000 goes to Faiza Faruqi, an 11th grader at Hicksville High School. If Faiza should attend Hofstra, we will, again, not less than double the award. Congratulations.
Great job. That was good work. Could have easily been a winner.
The third prize winner is Jordana Boxer, a sophomore from Huntington High School. Jordana will receive $1,000, and again, amount we will at least double if she attends Hofstra.
Could have easily been a winner. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chris and Rob and the students, their parents, and their teachers. It's really one of the high points of this evening. Bethpage has sponsored it for all 14 years we've offered it. Now I'd like to introduce Hofstra's, as you heard, the new Vice President for Equity and Inclusion, Cornell Craig, who will present our remaining honorees. Cornell.
Good evening. I don't intend on being too long, but I do think it's important for us to honor our honorees. A disclaimer I always give when talking about diversity, because it's used so much, I always reinforce that diversity is difference within groups, so within a context. And I always remind people that when Cornell walks in the room, diversity did not walk in the room. I am not diverse, I am just me. So we need to use the language properly and also be specific about what we're talking about. I can't overemphasize how important diversity, equity, and inclusion are to Hofstra. More than half of the student body self-identifies as non-white, which follows trends not only on Long Island but nationally as well. In short, diversity and equity truly are the key to our success in every way. And this event, this celebration of suburban diversity, is one way to share our aspirations with you. My role tonight gives me the great pleasure to introduce 4 more of our esteemed honorees, and you can and should read about them in the journal. The bios are there. But suffice it to say that they, along with our keynote speaker, Thomas Falcone, are truly deserving for everything they do to make Long Island a better place to live for everyone. Our first honoree, through her perceptive and powerful Newsday columns, and as a decades-long advocate for diversifying the newsroom, Joy Brown has been an impactful voice for equity and inclusion, and a role model for Long Islanders of all races. Please turn your attention to the video screens.
Joy Brown is a journalistic force of nature. She's tough, she's street smart, and she's totally in touch with what matters to ordinary people.
Again, I just want to hammer home another.
Joy Brown means so much to Newsday in the sense that she's given many years of service.
In my view, she is Newsday.
I think Joy Brown is the heart of Newsday.
Everything from editing to writing a column and moving into Newsday TV.
She's not only a great writer, but she's an inspiration to many of us in the newsroom. I always point to the younger reporters about how to do things, and she's a great example.
She is everything from a mentor to a friend to an amazing reporter, columnist, editor.
She has been a pivotal, important person in everything that Newsday's done over the last 40 years.
My experience in that courtroom is something I honestly have never seen in a corruption trial.
Joy is so steeped in what's going on Long Island and the people, and talks to people all the time.
She cannot stand to sit in here basically for too long.
Joy's very smart, and the way she gathers knowledge is by talking to as many people and is learning as much as possible.
People just gravitate towards her. Everybody wants to talk to her, and because they know they have her ear, they have Newsday's ear.
That's what Joy is all about. Everyone feels comfortable to go to Joy.
That is what the Manhattan District Attorney, that is what the...
When Joy digs into a story, she's asking questions that are truly meaningful to working families. She knows how the system works, and she knows how to hold the powerful accountable. Nothing gets by her. She connects the dots so that you know what's going on behind the curtain.
And she's a real student of government and is willing to dig into the minutia of what they do, so she can tell people how policies affect real folks.
Text messages during
It's also an example of how somebody reinvents themselves because of our industry, because of how Long Island has changed over the years, because of how the technology has moved and changed.
Well, one of the things I've admired about Joy is the seamless transition she has made to Newsday TV.
As many of you know, we just recently launched Newsday TV, and Joy jumped into that with both feet and has been in the middle of it ever since, bringing perspective and analysis that no one else on Long Island can bring.
There is nothing elite or partisan about Joy. No agenda, no spin, just straight, plain language insights that come from the facts. No wonder she's a long-distance swimmer. She's fearless, she jumps right in, and she goes the distance until you have what you really need to know about what's going on around you. That's our Joy, and you'll only find her in Newsday.
Please help me in welcoming 2023 Celebration of Suburban Diversity honoree, Joy Brown.
What up, y'all? I'm going to thank everybody at the end, okay? Because it's kind of nerve-wracking being up here, having to give a speech that I actually had to write down. So pray for me. You ready? Joshua, keep my time, boy. That's my son. A group is a group, he said. You sit down with a person, however, and they become a someone with a name. Mohinder Singh told me that one day when we stood outside a sweet shop in Hicksville. Joy, fingers crossed, we're almost there. That came from Sandy Brewster Walker, executive director of the Montaukets. She told me that in this room a few months ago. Have not had a chance to speak to her since the tribe's quest to gain state recognition failed again. Bill Willett, Nassau's police headquarters is named after him. One day, he called me because he wanted to be included in a list of prominent African Americans I was putting together for a Long Island history project. Back in the 90s, I believe that was. I told him no. Big mistake. He did make the list later when he became the county's first black police commissioner. Elsie Owens told me where to go to church. The Quorum Health Care Center is named after her. And my gosh, how I miss Dee Thompson, who would, yeah, God bless her. If she were here, she'd look at me cross-eyed because I'm wearing tennis shoes. She always told me that I should ditch the sneakers, dress better, and get myself a good pair of decent shoes. I'm sorry, Dee. I came to Newsday 40 years ago as the paper's minority affairs reporter. And in that time, she said, changing pages, I've been gifted the opportunity to hear and see through other people's eyes, and listen through other people's ears. I've been gifted invitations into other people's lives, their hopes, their dreams, their triumphs, their fears. And I'm going off script here for just a second. You know, a lot of times when you talk about DEI, you're talking about underserved communities and things that we have to do better. I'm telling you, 40 years of doing continuing contacts with Long Island as still a minority affairs reporter, I can tell you that these are vibrant, rich communities. I've had so many conversations about so many things with so many people in so many different communities on Long Island, which I describe as a community of communities. And Newsday has gifted me the honor of basically being a conduit from their lives to your eyes and ears. That's basically what I do. But it occurs to me, so many of these people that I speak to, they may know me, but they don't know each other. And they certainly do not know you. And they should, and you should know them as well. By the way, Mohinder, who told me back then, when you sit down with someone with a name, someone becomes someone with a name. Mohinder told me that back in 2009, 15 years ago. And that was right before he had this incredible idea, and I wrote a column about it. And I'll quote from that. Quote, that idea grew, and with the help of more than 24 Long Islanders, became an even better idea, a banquet to celebrate and showcase the region's rich and growing diversity. And here we are, still celebrating. I want to thank, well, before I thank anybody, let me do this. I would encourage you guys, find Mohinder, find Sandy, find a lot of these different people. Talk to somebody you haven't talked to, and for goodness sakes, where's that Newsday table? There they are over there. Go talk to them over there too. One way that we can proceed together is actually not just to have people talk to me and me relay it to you, like I'm the Webb telescope or something, but for you to actually gather information from each other, learn about each other. And with that, I want to thank Hofstra. I want to thank the Center for Suburban Studies. I got to thank my dude, Larry, over there. And I also want to pay homage to the other honorees. It's a real cool deal to be up here and included with you. And I think I stayed in my time, which is really, really cool. Thank you.
A surgeon, a designer, a developer, and even a winner of a major international talent competition, philanthropist Lily Hahn hopes to use her gifts to encourage young women to take on the world with confidence. Please turn your attention to the video screens.
I'm from the Peking, China graduate from Capital Medical University. My father actually in the China is a very famous doctor. I just fulfilled my father's dream and go to the medical school. But after I come to the US, I decided to follow another dream. I took my passion from the paper and the ink, applied to steel and the concrete, and start to build the buildings. As a suburban woman, I'm very proud of myself and proud of my team. And I'm proud of it. I come here for the dream, make something, making my dream go through. Yeah. So, and this is the building really standing here, and you can see every day. Actually, my dear friend Tai Wang, and I know her. I call her big sister, and I know her from 2007. Actually, yeah, it's a long time. So, I think it's from pandemic. She is a philanthropist. She's a big helping, and she's my role model. She helping a lot of people. It's not only helping Asian community. She's really helping any community. She's very diversity, helping all of the community and the student, the young people, older people. You more go to a more diversity meeting, have a lot of people from all over anywhere. So they more love to help, because they know they're in new immigration. So they need help. So sometimes they know something, if you don't know, they more love to help you. I think to talk to people where is we from all of the world different. We're different color, we're from all of a different professional. And we come here coming together, and then now I can come and feedback to the community. This year is 17 years, yeah. That's I think that back to the community, that's what I wanted to help in the young generation for them, because me from through so hard come today. Right. So I want to give them all my experience for them, let them learn, tell them, don't be afraid to fail, and go forward.
Please join me in welcoming 2023 Celebration of Suburban Diversity honoree, Lily Hahn.
Thank you. It is so honored to be here tonight. This is my 3rd year attending this dinner. My best friend Tai Wang brought me to my first, and it was amazing. But I never thought I would have the privilege of being on honorees. So thank you, Larry, for your encouragement and support. Thank you, President Poser, for everything you and Hofstra do to advance diversity in our suburb. I wanted to recognize my family, the most important people in my life, for always being there for me and each other. And also, thank you, my all the dear friend in the come here today. Lastly, I want to thank my fellow New York Chinese Choir members for sharing the joy of the music from all of the world with me. They are fantastic. As I grew up in Beijing, meeting someone from Shanghai or Guangzhou was like meeting someone from a different country. In China, people from different provinces spoke different language and dialects, observed different traditions, and the same to difference from another, even when they came to the New York Chinatown. But my husband and I, we hired Shanghainese, Beijingese, Fuzhounese, Cantonese, Taiwanese. We hired all the nieces. At a time, many shops hired only the people from their own hometowns. And that's how I discovered how much better it was to run a business with the people with different point of view and life experiences. It wasn't always easy, but it gave us real competitive advantage. One of my favorite volunteer projects is the International Leadership Foundation. Each summer, we bring together over 30 high-achieving AAPI college students from around the country to learn how to engage publicly on important issues. In short, they learn how to find their voices and to use them. Last month, I attended the AAPI Strong Conference in Las Vegas, and I was amazed at how much more informed and confident they were than I was 40 years ago when I came to the US. What I saw and heard, please give me great hope for the future, just as this dinner does. This award meaning too much to me, but it's more than just a pride. Supporting Larry's Center is another chance to give back and encourage others to do the same. And not just my own AAPI community. So here to work together toward a better future, special for the next generation. Thank you.
A respected physical therapist with a practice in multiple Queens and Long Island locations, Dr. Neelish Soni has combined a passion for philanthropy and advocacy for the elderly to help thousands of people without charge. Please turn your attentions to the screens.
I was born in India. My parents taught me some fundamental virtues of treating everybody with respect, dignity, and look things through that prism of how we can help others. Having an ailing grandmother at an earlier age and experiencing the loss of my dad at age 16 to a disease which was not easily diagnosed sparked my interest in healthcare. That, along with my life's goal, I have a passion for caring others. So combining these two made me choose to become a physical therapist. Growing up, I saw a lot of love given to us as grandchildren by our grandparents. I somehow leaned towards caring for the elderly. When I came to the United States, I worked being in the long-term care industry. I saw that void. That made my intentions even stronger to help older adults. When I arrived in 1994, it was a huge awakening, and it was very interesting. The dietary habits, the communication, ways we communicate, all those things were new for me, exciting as well as nerve-wracking. But I had good company. I had a good support system within the hospital where I was hired, and we all were 20-something young clinicians, and we did come from different backgrounds. So we all were learning together and growing together. I think I learned from diverse cultures and getting along, and I feel myself privileged to be exposed to different cultures. We learn a lot from each other, and in fact we celebrate all the festivals together. Besides celebrating our birthdays, I celebrate diversity on a daily basis through my patients, through my give back to the community, through my hiring or working with my staff from different national backgrounds. And I'm very proud to say that this existence of diversity around me has made me a better human being.
Please join me in welcoming 2023 Celebration of Suburban Diversity honoree, Dr. Neelish Soni.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the privilege of speaking tonight. What is truly a celebration of diversity. I congratulate my distinguished honorees, Mr. Thomas Falcone, Ms. Joy Brown, Ms. Lily Han, and Professor Mario Murillo. Kudos to Larry, Anna Katz, and the entire team at Hofstra, who has kept the spirit of diversity alive in our suburbs. Sorry. Please give them a big round of applause. Standing humbly before my family, friends, and the entire community, I'm deeply honored to receive this award as one of the compassionate caregivers of our beloved Long Island. I grew up in India, and from the very childhood, I learned the virtues of respecting all, treating others with dignity, and thinking of making the world a better place. I graduated in my undergrad and grad courses as university first. Not because I was the smartest, by no means, but because I had the strongest grit, determination, and everything to lose if I don't get it right. When I specialized in physical therapy, I knew for certain that I can combine my love for healing others and what I've learned at home to make this world a better place. Today, even after 32 years of clinical practice, I'm really energized when I see a grandfather being able to run again with their grandchild after a knee replacement surgery, or a mother being able to care for her family after a devastating stroke. My mother is the central source of my inspiration. And luckily, I have her in the audience today. So, Mommy, please rise and be recognized. I realized that success came to me because of a combination of effort determination, and perseverance, and as well as a ability to, fight all the adversities with strongest grit. But I was reminded of all this during my recent hiking trip to the Himalayas at the Everest Base Camp. While we were tracking, I was pleasantly surprised to come across a US veteran who was a double amputee and was managing the rough terrain on his below-knee prosthesis. While we were all gasping for air and really tired managing the terrain, he was doing just fine. "How are you feeling?" I asked him. He smiled and replied, "Totally fine. At least my legs don't hurt." So to the wonderful audience, let your light shine. I feel that when you desire to do something, do it with full conviction, do it with passion, do it with pride. He taught me that life is not going to get easier. You just have to get stronger and pursue your dreams with all your abilities. Thank you so much. Good night.
A Hofstra professor and administrator, held in high esteem by his students and colleagues, as well as professionals in his field. Mario Murillo has used his talents to help tell the stories of people who so often go unheard. Please turn to the video screens.
I was born in New York City. I'm the fruit of the Latin American immigrant experience in New York City. I was born privileged because my parents struggled and worked hard and they did what they could so that way we didn't have to, right? And so the other thing they reminded us is that you can't do this alone. You have to think of the next door neighbor. So that's the kind of approach that I've taken to my teaching, to my radio work, to my journalism. As a young student in high school, studying those things and seeing what was happening in Colombia at the time, and seeing the contradictions that existed in one's own upbringing in those spaces, really got me to the place where I started studying and working, and always with the interest of doing some kind of work in media and communication. That's always been my passion, is to say, wait a minute, these stories have to be told. And we don't have to tell them, the community has to tell them. And I take that approach with my students and try to take the same approach. Every student has something to say. Every student has, a story to tell. And the challenge is to get them to find the tools to tell those stories. Beloved colleagues and friends reached out to me because they wanted to do the oral history on the Latino immigrant experience on Long Island. And because of my background in radio reporting and journalism, they were interested in me getting involved. We had talked about working with students because we tried to do this in a unique way, involving students both from the law school and from sociology and from the center and from the Herbert School in this collaborative endeavor of telling these stories of these communities. And so it took a long time, but it was really exciting because we had different approaches to the content from a legal perspective, from a kind of sociological, research perspective, and then from the storytelling community perspective in terms of reporting on it. And so that's how it came about, and it's exciting. This is what I talk about. This is a perfect example of what, when we say community journalism could do, and where you include the participants of the story as the ones who are shaping their story, right? It's not simply having somebody come in and report and then tell their story to somebody else. It's trying to get them involved in the development of the story.
Please join me in welcoming 2023 Celebration of Suburban Diversity honoree, Mario Murillo.
Wow, crazy, just crazy. I didn't prepare any notes because Larry told me since I'm the last speaker and the room was pretty much half cleared out, I have 10 minutes. So, no, really, those of you who know me know that I don't like to draw attention to myself, and I do take this with considerable humility, this recognition. Of course, thanking the beautiful people at the National Center for Suburban Studies for the work they do, but also for putting on a great party at the end of the year. Every year is my favorite event of Hofstra University. And I also want to thank the president and the provost really for stirring things up, right? Already you've had an impact on a lot of things on campus in the very brief time that you've been with us. And two projects dear to my heart, the News Desert Research Project that we've been doing and that's continuing to gain traction in the community, as well as the forthcoming Hofstra Uniondale Pathway Project with Uniondale High School students who are going to be taking classes at the Herbert School as juniors in high school starting literally in January. So those, we appreciate that. But I really do. I mean, I don't like to draw attention to myself. That's probably why I've done radio for the most part of my life. It's also probably the result of being the lower middle child of 4 brothers and sisters. My older brother, who's here, Frank, I love you. Thank you for coming. He was the oldest firstborn Murillo, carrying the name Murillo for the rest of he's the oldest one. So he was the most special. My brother Carlitos, who's in Chicago, he's not here tonight. He's the baby of the family, right? Some of us called him the mistake, but he's the most special. He was the baby. And then my sister Sue, who's here as well. So Susie, I love you too. Thanks for coming. She's the only girl, right? So I was like always struggling with that whole thing. But at least my mom used to say to me, "Tranquilo, papito, tú eres el más bonito." Don't worry, son, you're the most prettiest. Actually, I made that up to kind of put a bomb on my, insecurities. But anyway, but I received this with humility because really, there's a number of you here. I know who you are. I mean, Vice President Craig, and there's Athaline, and I see. I'm not sure if my comrades at NOAA, the New Opportunities at Hofstra, are still here. Daisy and Roosevelt. And there's so many, so I shouldn't even begin to mention. But there are so many people at Hofstra University who should be standing, who could be standing here with me today. And that's what makes Hofstra so special, right? It's a unique place. But there are people who are, to quote the Mayan proverb, todos tenemos que poner nuestro granito de arena. All of us have to put in our grain of sand to make a better world, to make the campus a better space for our students, for the whole community, to connect more closely with the community, connect with folks like Project Strong Youth. I don't know if Serge is still here and Mia, are they still here? Right? Former students, well, at least Serge, it's great to see him. That we all have to contribute to make that community a great place. So, I'm not special, right? We're part of this, and that's what makes me happy to be a part of Hofstra for so many years and trying to make a difference. And then finally, because I have 5 more minutes? I have? No. I want to thank my father and my mother. My father, who's here, Francisco, mi panita, and my mother, may she rest in peace with the ancestors. My father came from Colombia in the 1950s in a very difficult time in Colombia and made his way to New York. My mother was one of the younger generations of her big family from Puerto Rico. She came in the 1950s as well. So I'm a Colón Boricua 100%. Proud to say it. But I'll talk about diversity. Imagine trying to code switch between speaking like a Bogotano and speaking like a Jíbara, right? Those of you who understand. My parents and my father, they taught us the values of education. They told us, and through struggle, because I'm not going to lie, we lived a privileged life. The four of my brothers and sisters, we lived a privileged life. But it was because of the sacrifices and the hard work and the struggle and the challenges and the battles that my parents waged for so long for us, right? Here's where I get all emotional. This is my mother's side, But anyway, the main point being that the message that they sent to us was we as parents, and as a parent, I totally get it. Anybody know Ruben Blades? How many of you know Ruben Blades? The white folks in the room probably know him as the Walking Dead, but all of us else, we all know who Ruben is, right? He has one of his songs is called Amor y Control, and it's one line says, only those of us parents understand that the love of a parent never gets tired of being given, and that we want for our children what we never had. That's what my parents taught us, right? I think from the very beginning. And that's how I've approached every story, every piece of work I did as a radio journalist, as a reporter, as a researcher, as an activist, as an educator, as a professor, recognizing that the same thing, that people want for their kids what they couldn't have themselves. So that has been a really strong message for me, and getting this award only gives me more motivation, more inspiration to continue to work with Larry, with Chris, with Vice President Craig, and with all of you to make Hofstra a better campus, make Long Island a better place to live, and make it a better world for all of us. So I thank you all so much, very much. Much love.
No more words of wisdom. I did want to recognize So Young, Lee Segredo, who's our entertainment coordinator. Some of you heard her sing. Tom Locascio, who's still here from LIPA, who already has a huge plate that is spilling over and took on the work with Tom Falcone to do their part. The Hofstra folks are terrific. You heard from Charlie Reardon. A lot of unsung heroes who work behind the scene, Shonda and just people who are here, people who are not here anymore. What I want to tell you is, first of all, little detail thing. One is that all the food that was not consumed at the cocktail dinner hour will go to feed the guests at the Interfaith Nutrition Network. I don't like to tell people that beforehand because I don't want them to feel guilty. Also, we have the room for quite a while. I know I have this, detailed script with 9 minutes and 27 seconds, and we are only about 22 minutes beyond what was allotted. But you can stay as long as you really want, and if you want more, you can go to another table where they haven't eaten. But please keep talking, enjoy yourselves, but most important, even more important than celebrating diversity, get home safely.